Okay guys, obviously I'm not here today because I have a golf tournament, but I wanted to at least kind of start you off on instruction because we're starting a new program. This is Microsoft Publisher. It's the little blue P down at the bottom. When you open up Publisher, we're going to go here to Blank Document, and you kind of have to think about Publisher as a digital poster board. And what we're going to be doing today is basically dealing with the objects and things to draw on this poster board. And I've got a handout with some examples of things that you're going to go in and draw and play around with. And really and honestly, I just kind of want you to get a feel for Publisher today, draw some of the things that are on here. Your artwork does not have to be perfect. It's just about you getting used to using the drawing tools. So because it's a poster board, every single thing is its own individual object, so we're going to go in and create some different objects. The first thing, if you want to add text to Publisher, you've got to do it in a text box. So we're going to come up here, click Draw Text Box, and you draw a box, and you see the little blinking cursor in there, and what that means is I can type. So I'm going to type, Mr. Tarpley is awesome, because I am. Now while that's hard to read, if I want to zoom in, I can use the zoom button down here, so I can zoom in and see it a little bit more. Now I can see my text in there. And if I want to format that text, when I highlight it, it gives me all these options that are just kind of like in Word. I can go in and make it bigger or smaller. I can change the font. I can make it bold. I can change the size or the location in the text box itself. And then some of these other buttons as well. It's just your basic text box. If you want to resize it, just click on one of the little buttons on the end, and it will resize it for you. And then the little green dot, if you click and hold your mouse, it'll let you rotate your text 365 degrees, so that if you wanted to change the direction of it, you could go in and do that as well. I'm just going to kind of click that over there on the side. Let me scroll out a little bit. So there's a text box. If I wanted to add an actual picture, like from the internet or a saved file, kind of like your own personal picture, click on the Insert Picture button right here. And then you would scroll to your B207 drive. Mine, of course, looks different than yours. Let me pull you up here. Who's going to be my guinea pig? Eileen, you win. So Eileen, here is your picture. And now, with that picture, I've got different formatting up here. This is the same that you've had in Word, which some people have used and some haven't, but I just kind of want you to play around. You can change the brightness of the picture, or change the contrast. You can even recolor it to a different color scheme if you wanted to. You've also got picture styles, which basically change the shape or might add a background or a layer to it or something like that. That's just kind of fun. Now you've also got these three buttons here, which we'll get to in a little bit more depth later, but right now you've got picture border and the shape are the two I want to talk about. The border is referring to the line that's going all the way around the picture. It's hard to see, Eileen. Let me fix that. There we go. So if I go up here and change the border, I can change the color of it if I wanted to, or I could go in and choose these or more colors, and I could find a different color there. I can also go in and change the weight, which is how thick the border is, if I want it to be a thinner line than it was or a thicker line. Whoops. Or I can change it, if it was a thicker line here, I could change it to dotted or dashed, and these are all the same properties that come with any line, which is what we'll get to here in a minute. Just go in and kind of play around with it, experiment, changing the line, changing the color. It rotates as well, so you can go in and have fun with that. This is just kind of me showing you what's available. Now you've also got shape, which is what we'll insert here in a minute, but with this, because we've already got an object, we can go in and change the shape of the object. Right now it's just the standard rectangle. If I went in and changed it to, I don't know, the diamond, it would change the shape of Eileen's face in there, and I can resize it a little bit. There we go. So now Eileen's in that little diamond with the nice, neat little green background. So there's picture. Let's just move Eileen out of the way over here. Alright, now last is my auto shapes. Auto shapes, right here, let me go in, and this is what you're going to be using to draw things. Really and truly, I kind of want you to play around with this before you actually start the project. So with each one of these lines, you know, if I go in and draw, click and drag and draw a line, then it gives me all of my options up here with lines. This is kind of like it was with the picture border. I can change the color. I can change the weight, how thick the line is. I can change if I want it to be dotted or dashed. Just kind of play around with it. This is all under this option right here. This is the line options. So I can change it if I want it to be a dotted or a dashed line. I could even go in and change it if I wanted the line to be an arrow one way or the other. Or there's the pattern as well, which with the pattern you can go in and change that. Yellow is hard to see. There we go. If I wanted the line to look like bricks or something like that, I don't know. Just play around with it, because it's pretty cool the different options you've got. And you can always click on the ends and resize it or rechange the angle, or when in doubt, you can always hit the delete key and delete it totally. Alright, so there's lines, and you can go in, and there's different styles of lines. One of them's kind of a curve, so you can go in and play with the curve side of it. Click on the little arrow here, and it kind of shapes it one way or the other, and then you can go in and change things, change the weight and all that stuff. So now you've got a couple of different lines, and you could connect these. You can draw things with the individual lines, or you could go in and apply an actual shape itself. So let's just get, say, a triangle, and then I'm going to click and drag and draw my triangle. Now a triangle has three different options here. The line is the exact same, it just refers to the outline of the actual shape. So that will be the exact same thing. Change the color, change the weight, blah blah blah. We've already done this before. This top one is the fill, because right now, while it looks white, it's actually empty in the middle. There's nothing there. Because if I dragged it over here, see how I can see through the triangle and see Eileen's picture. So if I go up here, I can choose fill color, and I can choose one of these colors. I can choose more colors. So let's just choose, so now I've got that. I've also got all these other options. I could fill it in with a picture, kind of like I did with Eileen's picture. I could choose a gradient, which lets me go in and choose kind of a shading, and more gradient gives me more options there. I could use a texture, which would automatically fill it in with one of these preset little pictures that are in there. And I've also got pattern, which is kind of like with the line, lets me go in and choose two colors, and lets me choose what kind of pattern I want to fill in each picture. Now I can go in, I can go in and I can add multiple shapes, and each shape being its own separate, see how it's see-through. Whoops. Go in and make this, that's the line color. Now, what I can do is I can stack these shapes. Let's add one more, just for kicks. I can stack these shapes, and then, since they're all different, see how they're all stacked one on top of each other? Well, maybe I don't want it to be that. Maybe I want the yellow one to be behind the purple one, but the blue one to be on top. That's where these three buttons come into play, with bring forward and send backward. So if I do this one and say I want to send it behind, I can click send backward, and with this one, bring forward, and now it restacks them. So really and truly, I want you to play around with this kind of stuff and draw these individual objects, and just play. That's all I'm asking you to do. The last thing I want to show you is word art, which a lot of people already know what that is. If you go to insert and word art up at the top, these are basically just bubble letters. So you can go in, type in whatever you want, change your font to whatever you want, and then it puts it in nice big bubble letters. And then word art itself is just kind of like any other thing. You can go in and change the fill color, the outline color, and everything just like we've been doing. What you're going to be doing after you've played around, and I want you to spend 15-20 minutes playing around on a blank document, just kind of like I've shown you here. Go back, rewind this video, whatever. You're going to go in and you're going to draw. In my handout, I'm giving you this. You're going to use word art to create this WM, and it's going to be exactly however you want to make it. It does not have to be just like mine. Then you're going to draw this computer. This is nothing but auto shapes and lines, do the little wires here. And then you're going to draw your own little iPod. And you'll see that I put a little blue square, and what I did was scroll in, zoom in, use a little zoom button over here, and I put a text box with a little F to make that just random blue square into the Facebook app. So you can go in and add some detail to this however you want. I want you to spend some time on this. This is your assignment today. This is much better than adding data into an Access database or anything like that. And then once you've gone in and played with these, I gave you a prompt for 3 other things, and I didn't tell you what to draw. I'm letting you choose whatever you want. So you're going to draw a house using nothing but auto shapes. You're going to draw a soda can and add detail to these, and then I want you to be creative and draw some kind of an animal. Now this does have a point, I promise you. We'll have an assignment next class where you'll be going in and using these tools a little bit more in depth, but this is just kind of a play day. I want you to have fun with this, take it seriously, and I'm really going to be grading you more on effort than artistic ability. So if yours doesn't look perfect, I mean this looks like crap, let's be honest, then feel free and make it better any way you want. Some people were putting pictures on the screen, some people were drawing in more detail on the apps, so this is all up to you. Alright? Do your best, have some fun, and of course be good. And I will be back on, what is that, Thursday.